I am joined by Taylor women's basketball head coach Jody Martinez to look back at the 2020-2021 season for he and the women's basketball team. Jody, first of all, what was it like to get a season completely in from beginning to finish with all of the changes and protocols that were thrown your guys' way throughout the season?
Rick, it started back a year ago when we were at the national tournament and experiencing something getting canceled right in front of you, and then having the unknown about the pandemic and how society and the world, actually globally, how they were going to treat this thing. And as each month went by during the summer of 20, and then we get into school reporting in August and all the tests being required, it was quite the challenge to coach this year. It was probably the most I've been tired, and I'm sure my players were tired at moments, especially as we got into second semester. But the blessing is we made it through a season. In our first team meeting, the things I told the team, my first goal is for the two seniors to have a regular season and have an opportunity to play every day. And with the unknowns and quarantine, the contact tracing, testing, screening, everything that goes on, it just wore on us, but we made it through. And to be the only team in the conference not having a positive case during the regular season and not having to quarantine was remarkable, just truly remarkable. And credit to the girls for their discipline on and off the court. Trying to keep our tight bubble within each other of when we would do activities, just to make sure it's just us. And so it's to me, it was a championship year because we got the season in.
A tough end, going 3-3 in their last 6 games with some tough road losses. We thought you guys might have a chance to sneak your way in there with one of the final at-large bids to the national tournament. Obviously, the field condensed from the originally planned 64 teams down to 48. That finds you guys on the outside looking in. What was your message to the team in your last team meeting as you guys prepare for next season?
Yeah, when you look at February, we had tough losses, but the teams we lost to are all in the Sweet 16 Nationals. We had a record of 19-7. We finished third in the conference, only one game out of second place, and that second place wasn't determined till the last week of regular season. And so I knew we were on the bubble. I knew we were on the bubble going into February, especially as we went into the last ranking. And with the new format of selecting the at-large teams, us losing 6 games really hurt us, especially the road games. So it kind of hurt our strength of schedule. The teams that we did play early on in October and November, you just don't know how they're going to end their season. And so as the season went on, those type of teams that we played in the non-conference did not do well. And so that hurts the analytics part of what the committee was looking at. And so as you watch March Madness right now with men and women's basketball, you always hear the talk about the first 4 in, the last 4 in, or the first 4 out, the bubble teams like that. I would have to say that we qualified for the first 4 out. It's unfortunate because the 4th place team in our league made the tournament. Their analytics helped them. Their non-conference games were tougher, and those teams were more successful by the time the regular season ended. And so they edged us out and a few other teams that were ahead of us. But, in the end, I was, happy that we were on the bubble. There's a lot of teams that were in close to it. And we were very young this year, as you and I talked. When you graduate, your starting 5 that were all seniors, that's a lot of veterans gone. And then when you look at how young we were, game experience wise, I thought our team did a great job battling this season.
One of your key cogs is your leading scorer, Lauren James. She was named All Crossroads League first team. Even more impressive, not only you factor in that she had career highs across the board, but she did so after having to take a year off due to an ACL tear. What was it like to watch her tear things up this season?
And you're using the word tear up. That's pretty funny. Hey, the thing about LJ is this: she didn't play last year. If our conference would have had the comeback player of the year, kind of like the Alex Smith story, it would have been LJ. She did something that was remarkable, and credit her teammates to help her overcome the injury, overcome the mental part of coming back from an ACL. But LJ, to our knowledge and the research we've done, LJ became the first player in Crossroads history to lead conference play in scoring and in assist. And that's remarkable. And she finished third in the voting for Player of the Year. She was first team all conference. Um, so to me, that's a great success story, and hopefully one of inspiration for other people out there that had a season-ending injury and having to come back. And you really don't really recover from an ACL for about a year. And so, that being a year, I think LJ has an opportunity to be more explosive next season.
Which is good news for you, probably bad news for opponents, right?
We're praying for that. We're praying for that for sure.
Another thorn in opponent's side this season was senior Madison Fisher. She earned second team All Crossroads League honor. She's one of the best on-ball defenders in the Crossroads League, using that 5'11" wingspan. She really stepped into her role this year, getting her first season as a full-time starter, right?
Madison, I mean, you look at her and she doesn't look like she'd be a basketball player. People, kind of did a quick judgment like, oh, she's thin, skinny, or whatever. But Madison is one of the scrappiest players I've coached. Long arms. If we would have kept a stat on deflections, I truly believe Madison not only would have led Taylor, she would have been number one in the conference. Her long arms were a benefit, but with the long arms, you got to have that anticipation skill and the IQ to play defense, and Madison did a great job. And the good thing is the rest of the league recognized her. I mean, when you look at the total tallies of voting, she finished 12th, which is amazing, which means she was second team all conference. And that's just a credit to her work ethic, being a transfer kid who came in her sophomore year and had to learn the new system. And so basically didn't hardly play at all her sophomore year. And then she was one of three veterans with Meredith and Kayla that had any kind of significant minutes last season on the 30 and 14. So, we rely on those three kids, and they did a great job. And Madison, like I said, got recognized for that.
You look at your two other All Crossroads League selections. Kayla Kirtley, in her full first season as a starter, received honorable mention, and Taylor Westgate really blossomed towards the end of the year. She was named to the All Freshman team. It's got to be a pretty make you a pretty happy coach knowing those two front court players are coming back for another year. Correct?
Correct. With Kayla, once again, she had an injury coming in, and once overcoming that, uh, played behind Kendall and Becca. I mean, those are two All Americans you had to play behind. And Kayla, did a great job inside outside. She's more of a power forward. I would say a shooting forward. I mean, she's better with her chest to the rim versus than her back to the rim. And then so when you have a Taylor Westgate and Gretchen Mole being able to fill that 5 spot now, that gave Kayla more peace of mind that she can play her game. And I think Kayla's only going to get better. I think her senior year, I think she has an opportunity to be one of the best ones in the league, and I'm hoping that. But what a great way to finish being honorable mention. And then you just mentioned Westgate being on the all freshman team. Only 5 players can make that, and she was one of the top 5 freshmen in our league, which was dominant with young players this year. I think the future is bright for her game. It took her a while to learn the system and to slow down. And what I mean by slow down, Taylor was so used to being triple teamed in high school at Oak Hill. And that kind of happens when your junior year, you won the state championship. But she came in and tried to play the same way. And she's got to learn that, it's called, it's all about pressure points, reading the defense, and being strong with the ball. And she had a bad habit of fading away a lot early. And then she came on strong, as everyone saw. And of course, she got recognized in the league by the coaches.
We mentioned Madison earlier. She's one of 2 seniors on your roster this year, along with Kiara Nieto. They will graduate here in about a couple of months or so and move on to the next chapter of their life. Kiara, though, spent 4 years here. She and LJ came in with you in your first year here 4 years ago. Kiara graduates as the winningest player in program history, a part of 103 wins. What was it like to see Kiara have her best season? And oh, by the way, she also came back from a pretty major injury a season ago as well.
Yeah, Key had well, I don't want to say one injury is more serious than the other one, but in my 30 years of coaching, I know when you blow your Achilles, you usually your athleticism's done, your career's done. I haven't seen too many people make a comeback when they've blown their Achilles, and that's what unfortunately Key did a year ago. And once again, another comeback player. Doesn't have the stats that LJ has, but Key defines role playing and would be the poster child of what a role player is, who didn't play at all her first 3 years. And here she is starting, many of the games this season as a senior. And it wasn't like a sympathy start. She earned it. I mean, she's a hard-nosed, blue-collar, play at all costs, goes through a brick wall for her teammates kind of mentality. And, she deserved to be starting. And she wasn't the most talented. She wasn't the most skillful. And people knew that, but people respected Key on the team. And they respected that she was a starter. And to me, that's probably the greatest honor she received, besides the 103 wins. Because as we all know, LJ's coming back. And so as we win our first game next year, LJ breaks one of her best friends record, right? But Key and LJ was recruited by Kelly Packer, who did a great job with recruiting these kids. And, that's the last part of her time here. But we have LJ for one more year. So we still give Kelly all the credit for bringing her to Taylor. But as Key goes to grad school, I'm excited about her future. She is sharp. And she's going to do great things. And as Madison's got a great job. She'll be heading to her career now. And they both graduate in less than a month. I mean, it's May 15th coming around the corner. I think it's May 15th they graduate. Anyway, it's mid-May. I know it's before Memorial Day, but and here we, like you said, 2 months or whatever it is. I'm excited for their future. They're going to do great. They have great work ethic, and they have an unbelievable maturity level to them.
Jody, thanks for the time, and enjoy some time off, and we'll talk to you before next season gets here, okay?
Thanks, Rick, for all your time, and I appreciate all your support for Tub and the players.
That's Jody Martinez, the Taylor women's basketball head coach, joining me today to stay up to date with everything Taylor women's basketball. Just log on to TaylorTrojans.com.